Hello guys, and welcome back to Getting Started with LabVIEW, and in today's example we will look into using dynamic events in LabVIEW. In the previous example we have actually seen on how you can actually use a mouse to hover over a control and it generate a certain event using event structure. Now that particular type of event is what we call the static events. It only means that the interaction with the front panel. So static events and filter events usually catch events performed by the user before the LabVIEW even processes that events. On the other hand, dynamic event is an event where you want to include that events that is actually happening around your block diagram, which is actually not including the user interaction. So using dynamic event will actually allow your event structure to react codes that is actually happening anywhere on your block diagram. This means that a user may not even interact on your front panel and you can still having an event occurring on your block diagram or the front panel. And another thing that it is actually sometimes, depending on the situation, it is actually sometimes better to use dynamic events than continuous polling in LabVIEW if you were to compare in terms of CPU usage. Now what do I mean by this is I will actually use up a simple VI here to compare the differences. So this is an example of a cluster that contains a string input and a boolean input, and we can just simply use in an output here. Now what happens here is that you can see that although I have actually set the milliseconds to 100 milliseconds, you can see that the loop iteration continues to loop within the while loop while I press the boolean input and input some string inside. This may be a quicker way to actually use this user interaction event to input some value, but you can see that all the loop iteration is actually iterating continuously. So in the long run, this will somehow affect the CPU usage or memory usage of the VI. So in this case, how do I want to make it a better design? We can actually use this by using the dynamic event. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to create an example of a dynamic event here. So let me just move this down, and I'm going to create the same boolean button here, which I will call it as receiver, and I'll call it another toggle button. I call it this as sender. And what we're going to do is we're going to handle both of this sender and receiver in a different loop, and we're going to compare how it works here in the LabVIEW code. Okay, so let's say I have a while loop here, and in this while loop I have another, probably I create another while loop here as well. Create another while loop, and I want to set this while loop, two while loops to true here, and we're going to put in an event structure where I actually send in a boolean value onto the sender, and the event structure will actually capture the event and send it back to the receiver. So no, I don't need this. And to do that, we actually need to make sure that we need to register the event. We actually have to register the event, and we can actually go into the quick drop here, and you can just type in here called register for events. And I want to register an event where the boolean value is actually being captured and captured by the sender and sent to the receiver. So you can even go into the events palette here, and we need to create a user event. Now what is the function for this create user event is that it needs to check for a particular value that is actually being sent by the sender here. And we can actually just put in the user event into the user event here. Right now you can see there is no value, but we need to, let me put in here, and yeah, so when missing here, and we need to make sure that the value is actually being received. So I need to create a constant here, create a constant of the receiver and put it into the create user event here, and this particular user event has to be sent into the sender change value here. Let's say sender change value. So now the user is actually pressing the sent value, and also you need to generate the user event. To do that, you actually need to take the value wire from the user event, put it into the user event, and the user generates the event. And once you actually have that, once sender has already generated the event, it needs to send it to the receiver. It actually needs to send it to the receiver. To do that, you actually need to go to the register event wire, and then you actually need to link it into the event structure. So one of the ways to actually link it to the event structure is you need to right click and show dynamic event. Once you have actually showed the dynamic event, what's going to happen here is that you will see a new, let's say edit event handle, you will see a new case where this is a dynamic event for a receiver user event. So this is a custom event that you have actually created using dynamic event. Once you have actually selected this, and you will notice that you will see a new option here called receiver, and you can actually just link it to the receiver. Once you have already done this, I usually put it into shift register, and you need to destroy the event. So let's say I need to right click again. Let me just put it here, right click on the events palette, and we actually need to unregister for event. You actually need to unregister for event. Now looking at this simple code here, you can see that I'm going to press the toggle button and the receiver will actually receive it. And let's say I want it to be, I want to know how's the iteration. So let's say iteration for sender in the while loop, and look into the indicator for receiver loop. Let's make the control larger a bit so that we can actually see what's going on. Okay, so now if I run this, you will notice that even though the while loop, the event structure is within the while loop, it is not iterating unless the event has already been generated and sent to the receiver. So if I press true, the while loop, both while loop execute once and the LED turn true. Again, you can actually turn it off and on. You can see that it actually increments slowly. So this is a straightforward way on how we can actually generate dynamic event, and you can actually separate it into a two different while loops. Most of the time you can actually separate into two different loops, and it actually checks for the event that is actually happening on the other part of the block diagram. And in the next example, I will actually show another video where we can actually create a slightly interesting way of using the generate event, which is where we're going to monitor water level pressure and display warning status. So that will be covered in the next video tutorial.